All right, dear ones, please come on back to your seats. But I'm going to ask you to remain standing, or if you already sat down, to stand up, because we're going to sing our opening song with Karen Drucker this morning. And this is an easy one. It's one that she did for us for the 4th of July, so you've heard it before. It's very easy to sing along with, so here we go. Please stand if you're able to, and join us.
So today I choose. What is your word for today? It goes like this. Today I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, grateful. Can you sing that with me? Today I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, grateful. How about happy? Today I choose to be happy, so happy.
Look a little happy now.
I choose to be happy, happy. About peaceful. Today I need some of that. I choose to be peaceful, so peaceful. Today I choose to be peaceful, peaceful. That goes like this. Whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. Claim what I want, cause it's all up to me. All right, how about loving? Today I choose to be loving, so loving. Today I choose to be loving, loving. How about joyful? Today I choose to be joyful, so joyful. Today I choose to be joyful, joyful. Now pick your own word. Today, what do you want to claim today? I choose to be in that spot. Today I choose to be what? To be. All right, pick another word. What do you want today? Today, present. I choose whatever to be. Today I choose to be. All right, I'll sing this part. Because whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. I claim what I want, cause it's all up to me. You know it's all up to me. 'Cause today, how about thankful? I choose to be thankful, so thankful. Today I choose to be thankful, thankful. Let's go back to grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, grateful. Sing that again. To be grateful, grateful. Let me affirm it. To be grateful, grateful. Last time. To be grateful, grateful. Good job.
Yeah.
Here's your applause.
Good job. Yay. So, and I'm going to invite you to turn within, and, well, first, to silence your cell phone, because it's hard to turn within and then silence your cell phone, because, you know. So, go ahead and silence your cell phone so that if you get a message, you'll know, but it won't announce itself to the rest of us. And we're going to take this time to go within and be centered. So, first, you'll hear the centering music, and then our opening prayer by our prayer practitioner this morning, Leslie Janetti.
I bring my full recognition to the one infinite life, the one infinite power and presence, which is always moving and operating through everything, invisible to the visible and back again, pouring itself across the past, the present, and the future, filling up this perfect moment of eternity right now. And I know that each one here is a unique, individualized expression of the infinite life, that each one is a vessel for the wholeness and the fullness, the completeness and the power of the infinite life. So I speak my word and I claim an opening in consciousness now for the deepest resonant realization that the life within is formative. It is the light within, always seeking greater self-expression and allowing the self-expression to come forth, always manifests in the perfect incarnation of the infinite life, which is formative. It is always forming and reforming each one, each thought. It is forming conditions. It is always operating through the vitality of every cell and molecule. And realizing this is realizing the one infinite life as the center of everything. It is the harmony at the core of everything. And opening up to it opens up to a harmonizing, beautiful experience of oneness. And oneness is the absolute divine inheritance of each one. And I celebrate the oneness within each one that connects everyone to everything, every moment by moment. And I release my word now to the law of mind, which accepts my word as a brand new creation, ready to be made manifest in this moment for the greater good of all. And so it is. Amen.
So it is.
I built some walls and you tore them down. I built them up again, you kept losing ground. Now it's time to forgive and move on. Disappointment and fear are gone. When I choose love, I am complete. When I choose love, I am everyone I meet. When I choose love, I am at peace. Love is forgiveness and release. You built some walls and I tore them down. You built them up again, I kept losing ground. Now it's time to forgive and move on. The ghosts of the past are gone. When you choose love, you are complete. When you choose love, you are everyone you meet. When you choose love, you are at peace. Love is forgiveness and release. Try to remember the last time we felt safe from harm. All of the love we're looking for is right here, right where we are. When we choose love, we are complete. When we choose love, we are everyone we meet. When we choose love, we are at peace. Love is forgiveness and release. Yes, love is forgiveness and release. Oh, love is forgiveness and
Yes, we want to thank the musicians that provided the videos for this morning. So that was Karen Drucker, and then Laura Berman, and then Reverend Karen Mitchell this morning. So we're continuing our 2022 theme of living from the heart of wonder. And this month we're speaking about the magic and holiness of nature around us. And today we're savoring the water of life. So let me ask you, how many of you in the last 24 hours have washed dishes, taken a bath or a shower, washed your clothes, washed your car, washed your hair, washed your dog? How many of you done any of that? Okay. How many of you have had a drink of water in the last 24 hours? Okay. How many of you have played around water, done a water sport or watched a water sport in the last 24 hours? So I think that we can establish that water is part of our lives, right? It's always there. But you'd be amazed at some of the things that water is and does on this planet. There's a story about a couple of guys who went out fishing, an optimist and a pessimist. And the optimist was trying to figure out a way to move his friend out of this pessimistic thinking. And he thought he had a good idea because he had a dog that would retrieve whatever they shot. You know, they didn't go fishing, they went hunting, but they were in a boat. They had a dog that would retrieve that if it were duck hunting, would bring the duck back, but this dog could walk on water. So the optimist shot a duck, and the dog hopped out of the boat, walked across the water, picked up the duck, brought it back. And so the optimist turned to his friend, and he said, "Well, Charlie, what do you think about that?" Charlie said, "Oh, come on, Fred, be honest. That dog can't swim, can he?" I think that water is a little bit like the dog in the story. We don't recognize how much we appreciate, need, and depend upon water, or what it means for us. And we might, it just occurred to me as Reverend Karen was singing, that we might think of water as a visible expression of the love of the infinite, because it is in everything. There is about the same amount of water on Earth now as there was millions of years ago. However, no one really knows for sure how it got here. Some scientists think that water got to the planet in the process of everything cooling, in the swirling that was going on. Other scientists believe that it was a result of collisions with other ice-filled objects in space that, as they landed, contributed water. They don't really know. It's a lot of water to come from collisions. I don't know, about 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, and the oceans hold about 96.5% of that. The rest is lakes and rivers, and roughly 95% of the Earth's wildlife is found in water. I didn't know that. 94%. More than 70% of the Earth's oxygen is produced by the ocean. I thought it was the rainforests. They do provide a lot of oxygen, but more than 70% of the Earth's oxygen is produced by the ocean, and 14% of the Earth's protein comes from the ocean. Only 5% of the Earth's oceans have been explored. 5%. And charted because of the lack of light and the extreme water pressure. The water pressure at the deepest point in the ocean is 7 miles deep, and the water pressure at the bottom of that 7 miles is 8 tons per square inch. So that would be like having 50 airplanes stacked on top of your body. That's why we haven't gone down there. A newborn baby is 78% water. Adults are about 55 to 65% water, but that's still quite a lot, sometimes a little more. Water can dissolve more substances than any other liquid, including sulfuric acid. And water is the only natural substance found in all 3 physical states at temperatures normally found on Earth, so gas, liquid, and frozen. We don't have to provide extraordinary temperatures to see all three forms of water, but it's the only substance we can experience that with. The Tao Te Ching says, nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. National Geographic said, all the water that will ever be is right now. And W.H. Auden, the poet, said, water is the soul of the earth. But you know, it's more than the soul of the earth. It's the lifeblood of the earth. Everything that we depend upon, everything that lives, depends upon water. Plants that create their own food with photosynthesis still need water. So it's the essential thing. I mean, there are some other essential things too, but water, since that's mostly what we are, is a biggie. If we evaporated all the water in your body, I think we just have a little bit of, a little pile of dust maybe, and that would be it. Most of us is this liquid. Now, the interesting thing about water is that it responds, all water everywhere responds to the moon. So the tides, when the tides are happening, it's not just the tides in the ocean that are being affected by the moon. It also affects water in the lakes and the rivers and in the atoms and cells of our bodies. We are connected by water. It's like the omnipresent thing on earth that we have in common. So if you were to take a look then at the water in the body, you could see how many different organs are mostly comprised of water. And think about all the liquid that our bodies give off, right? Blood, sweat, tears. We all know about those, right? Mother's milk, saliva, mucus, reproductive fluids, urine, etc. All of those fluids are constantly being produced by us. And not only us, of course, everything else. Every animal has some vehicle for releasing excess water, sweating. I discovered when my first cat was very young, that cats and dogs don't sweat through their skin like we do. They sweat through their breathing and through the pads in their feet. Particularly cats sweat through the pads in their feet. So if you ever pick up your cat and their feet feel kind of damp, it's not because they just left the litter box necessarily. Isaac Dynson said, the cure for anything is salt water, sweat, tears, or the sea. The cure for anything. Years ago, before I found Science of Mind, I was involved in a personal growth training where one of the things that we were learning is how to reconnect with the part of us that knows how to cry. Most adults hold their breath. They don't want to cry. They don't want anybody to see them cry. They don't want to be pathetic or have anybody think that they need something. The problem with that is that the tears that we release when we cry are different than the tears from our eyes watering, and are different from the tears that we cry when we're having an emotional experience. The tears that we cry when we're hurt, when we're grieving, when we're injured, those have a different chemical makeup. So the speculation is they help us release stress. They help us let go of what it is that is overwhelming us. And little kids cry very freely. They do a kind of, and then the comes out because they breathe deeply. So, if you want to get back in touch with your emotion when you're feeling sad, begin to just take some deep breaths and stay with that, and you could find yourself sobbing. I know that may not sound like good news to those of you who are listening to this, but it really is, because it helps us release in a way that is healthy, that is built in, that is intended for us. Rajiv Joseph said, all water is holy. So, how could we not be holy, since such a big percentage of us is already water? In fact, we start in water. Amniotic fluid is 95% or 98% water. So we're formed in water, even now, as we were when we were single-celled organisms, as we start off this way too. We begin in water. It's our home. And so it's always serving us. It gives us our beginnings in life. We use it in ritual for baby blessings. When people prepare their loved ones when they've passed on at home, they wash the body. We use it in other rituals as a representation of that element of water. So it gets included. We also use it for entertainment. We use it for play. I remember running through the sprinklers when I was a kid. That was great fun. I remember wading in the gutter alongside the road when the sprinklers had been going, because there would be warm, clear water I could wade in at the edge there. I remember going swimming with friends and playing games in the water, and water skiing and canoeing. All of the things that we do to entertain ourselves with water. We travel on the water if we take cruises, or we go out in a boat somewhere, or go sailing. We use it for practical things. We use it for gardening, for watering, and for growing our plants. We use it for cleaning things. We use it for food preparation. We use it for the food that we eat and drink. So water is this universally applicable thing that for the most part we don't think too much about unless we're mourning about how much plastic is in it. You with me here? And yet, we should be blessing this water. Every time we encounter it, we should be blessing it. What is it, this miracle liquid that is the majority of our planet and everything on it? What is that? And the fact that it gives us all that it does is amazing. Sharon Salzberg, who's a meditation teacher, said the dynamics of the moon's gravitational influence upon earthly bodies of water are such that the waters will act in concord. The tides come and affect the water level in the ocean and rivers. When the ocean ebbs, the rivers will ebb. With the rising of one, there is the rising of another thing connected to it, conditioned by it. Nothing in life stands alone. And we are all connected to that same thing too. Thomas Berry, who was a cultural historian and a Catholic priest, said, when we see a flower, a butterfly, a tree, when we feel the evening breeze flow over us or wade in a stream of clear water, our natural response is immediate, intuitive, transforming, and ecstatic. Everywhere we find ourselves invaded by the world of the sacred. I love that, especially connecting with the idea that all water is holy. Invaded by the sacred, and we're constantly taking it in. Do you know that when you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated? Once you notice you're thirsty, you're dehydrated. And 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. It takes 2 cups of water to replace every cup of coffee or every alcoholic beverage that we drink. And I don't know that we're replacing our water at that kind of level. We certainly take in plenty of coffee. Well, I'm from Seattle. Maybe I have a prejudice toward that. So in understanding what it is, there are lessons that we can actually learn from the water. If we use water as a metaphor, which has been done a lot in poetry, in philosophy, in religious teachings, giving examples using water. The very first miracle we hear about in the New Testament is Jesus changing the water into wine at the marriage feast at Cana. They're having a great party. They're all drinking. They're having a wonderful time. The host runs out of wine. Very embarrassing at the wedding ceremony. So Jesus' mom says to him, they're out of wine. And he basically says, so, it has nothing to do with me. It's not time for me to do anything yet. She doesn't argue with him. She goes to the wine steward, but within his hearing, I'm sure, because this was for his benefit, not really the wine steward. She says to the wine steward, do whatever he tells you. So now he's stuck, right? What's he going to do? No, he's got to do something. So he goes over and he just takes a dipper out of the water jug. He just takes a dipper and he says to the wine steward, take this to the wine master. And the wine master says, well, you've saved the finest wine till last. It's the first miracle we have a record of Jesus performing, turning water into wine. So the symbolism of water and of wine in the Bible is big. It shows up over and over and over again. And when we talk about lessons from the water, in Proverbs it says, just as water reflects the face peering into it, so one human heart reflects another. And when we're really present with somebody else, when we're really listening to them, when we're really talking with them, we are reflecting them back to them by our questions and our interest and our comments and our curiosity. So the first lesson from water is to take the time to reflect, to be present with one another, and to reflect inwardly sometimes too. The second lesson from water is don't take obstacles personally. Can you imagine a stream flowing down a mountain going, there's another rock, I can't believe it. Why are all these rocks in my path? Why am I the one who gets all these rocks? That stream over there doesn't have nearly as many rocks as I have. Why don't you like me? It's not that. It's just part of the process. And so what the water does is, rather than complaining or refusing to move or any of that, it finds its way through the path of least resistance. And it just flows through, around, over, under. It finds a way without complaining, without fussing. Ernest Holmes, our founder, wrote in Love and Law, we must have a mental equivalent. In other words, we need to have an experience or an idea or a feeling, a sense within ourselves that matches what it is we want to experience more of in our lives. And if we don't have any equivalent idea or experience or feeling, it's not going to happen. We have to have that before we have this, whatever that is. So he says, we must have a mental equivalent. There must be something inside of us which equals the thing that we want to do. Water will reach its own level by its own weight. Have you ever been through the locks anywhere? It's quite amazing to watch that. You come in at one level of water, and then you get closed up in that level of water, and then the water either goes down or goes up to match the water you're going into, and then it opens up, and you go out into that next body of water. Amazing that we ever figured out how to do that, really. And then it works. Water will seek its own level. So with the stream running down the mountain, it goes until it hits the lake or the ocean or the river that it's going into. And then it continues to go along with that. It doesn't get there and stop, by the way. It continues to go with the movement of the rest of the water that it's joining. So with us, we're encouraged to flow with life. Row, row, row your boat. Gently, which way? Down the stream, not up the stream. How many of you, honestly, have ever found yourself rowing up the stream in your life? Upstream, really upstream, right? It should be different than this. So-and-so should be this way, or I should be that way, or my body should be this way. And when we get into the should part of it, we're always rowing upstream. It's not that we have to give up all interest in shifting things, just that in the process of shifting things, we do need to stop resisting and flow with what's happening and find the path for us that emerges out of that flow that goes in a direction that is in integrity for us. That was a lot I just said. Did that make sense to you? Okay, good. Also, so then, don't take obstacles personally, but go with the flow and move on. Move on. You never see a rock kind of sitting in the middle of a stream where the entire stream is sitting behind it saying, move. No, It just goes around it. And I would imagine once the water has gone around that rock, it doesn't worry about it any further. It just keeps going. So for us too, if we were to recognize that our obstacles are just part of life, they're just there, and our job is to go around them, over them, under them. If we persist long enough, we may wear them down too, because that's another thing that water does. And so, ultimately, we want to be able to persist. There's a story in the Bible about Jesus saying, if you have a guest that comes to your home in the middle of the night, you have to let that person in because they're your guest. And in the Middle East, it's very rude to welcome a guest without providing food for the person. But what if you have no food in your house? So you go to a neighbor and you pound on the door, knowing they're all asleep. You pound on the door, the neighbor looks out the window and says, What? And you say, my friend has come and I don't have any food. Can I borrow some loaves from you and I'll get them back to you tomorrow? And the neighbor says, I'm up here asleep with my entire family, you crazy? And then Jesus says, and I tell you this, if he won't give you the loaves of bread just because you're a neighbor, he will if you persist, just to get you to knock it off, right? So his conclusion then is, seek and you shall find. Ask and it shall be given. Knock and the door will be opened. Not just once. Make an annoyance of yourself. Now, the message really isn't for you and your neighbor. The message is for us with the infinite. Keep going, keep persisting, keep seeking that infinite. Keep reminding yourself that everywhere you look, you're looking at the face of God. Every bit of water, every single person, every one of us. And that's a reminder that I need. I don't know about you, but it's really helpful for me to get that reminder over and over again, to persist. My grandson, when he was little, was absolutely terrified of water. Not in the bathtub. He loved the bathtub, but a lot of water, like a swimming pool or a lake. When he was about 5, we were living in Canada. My son and his family came up to visit, and we went to Trout Lake, which is not a big lake, but there's a whole beach and, wading area and everything. And my grandson was so frightened, he would stand in just a little bit of water and scream at us, trying to get him into the water, scream that he couldn't. And the more patient my son was with him, the more he got him to move a little more and a little more until finally he could get him on his back and take him out in the water a little bit. And when Toby finally got into the water, that entire beach full of people clapped and cheered. Probably they were so relieved to be done with the screaming, but at the same time they were celebrating that he managed to get into the water. Not too long after that, maybe a year later, they discovered that if they gave him nose plugs, he was absolutely fine. Swam like a fish in his swimming lessons once he had nose plugs. They also got him water wings so he knew he wouldn't sink. He never wore them. And that's one of the things that's also been established in experiments. You don't have to access the available choice to be able to do something better. You just have to know you have a choice to be able to try and do better. And so he was a living demonstration of that. The water has now become something he can befriend and enjoy. But there was a time when it didn't look like that was ever going to be true. My mother never learned how to swim. So when I was 7, we had a pool, a big, it wasn't ours, but I lived in a huge apartment complex and we had a big Olympic-sized pool. So when I was 7, I took swimming lessons. And my mom thought that if I didn't practice absolutely everything they said for absolutely as long as they said every single day, that I would surely drown. So she would walk over to the pool with me, sit up on the steps, because there was 102 steps to get down to this swimming pool area. She would sit up there and watch. She never told me at that point in my life that she was afraid of the water, or that she didn't know how to swim, or that she was up there terrified that I would drown. She never said any of that. But she would listen to what he told us to do, you see, so I couldn't get out of it. So when I went home, she would fill up the water in the bathroom sink. And I would have to take a breath, put my face in the water, turn my head, take another breath, turn my face down, blow out the air, lift up, take a breath, for 15 minutes, so that it became second nature. And I did that throughout all those swimming lessons. I probably should practice it again now, but I was great at it, and I loved to swim, and I was in the water all summer. Not so great in it now, because it's been a long time since I've done that sort of thing. But I never had the fear of the water that my mom experienced. That was because she gave me that gift, you see. So, we have lessons we can learn from the water to reflect, not to take the obstacles personally, to go with the flow and keep on going, and to persist. Because we will get to the river and we will get to the ocean if we persist. If we don't persist, we may just evaporate, and we don't need to do that because we want to participate with the flow of life as best we can. There's a story about Thich Nhat Hanh that when he was a little boy, he once looked into a large water-filled clay jar, and at the bottom of it, he saw this beautiful fall leaf of many colors down in the bottom, but it was too deep for him to reach in and get the leaf with his arm. So he found a long stick that he was going to try and get that leaf up off the bottom of the water jug with. But the more he tried to get it, and the more he swirled the water, the more it swirled around there at the very bottom of the jar. So finally he gave up and went away. But he came back a few minutes later, and the leaf was right there on the surface of the water. Because after he left, the water continued to swirl, and it eventually lifted the leaf up to the surface. And this is a great metaphor for how our subconscious mind works. When we need an answer for something, not only when we're trying to remember something, but when we need guidance or we need an answer, we can think about it and explore it and research it, and that's all fine. But there comes a time when that becomes a losing proposition, and the best thing we can do is let go and go do something else. While the subconscious mind continues to search for that idea, that guidance, that memory that we're trying to bring back, and it will float up to the surface. So whenever I forget something in a conversation or something like that, I always say, that's okay, I'll remember it a little later. And I always do. If we plant in our minds the idea that what we need is available, I mean, there's only one mind. It's the mind of God. It's in everything, everywhere, all the time, which means that what you need to know is there, but it may take your subconscious some sorting to get through the file cabinets to find it and bring it to the surface. So we do the stirring. We let the subconscious and the conscious mind know what it is we need as best we can. And then when we've looked and we can't get to it in any analytical way, we let it go, and it finds us. Because that's what our subconscious mind is designed to do. The Buddha said, develop a mind that is vast, like the water, where experiences both pleasant and unpleasant can appear and disappear without conflict, struggle, or harm. Rest in a mind like vast water. So let's move within, into that place. As you take a breath, let your consciousness rest. See if you can allow yourself to just be aware of your attention. Not what it's on, but just your attention and your breathing. As we do this, we move into that one consciousness that is in everything, everywhere, always. What the earth was created from, how the water emerged, the life force that lives in all of us. We are present. We are aware. We are awake in the one. and it is all we are. So in this moment, in this nanosecond, we let go of our name, our personality, our opinion of ourselves, our ego, and we just become the breath. We just become awareness. In this place, all is available. In this place, all is possible. So we surrender into this place, and we visit it a nanosecond at a time as we remember, or maybe two, knowing that that intention of awareness and presence and breath is nourishing and enlivening us right here, right now in this room. I'm grateful to know that we are in this rejuvenating wholeness, every one of us. And I see it filling us up and flowing out from us into everything and everyone around us, almost as if the path we walked became lit as we stepped upon it. And I'm grateful for this reminder, for this truth, and for the working of the law that manifests what is always there more deeply and clearly for us than ever before. We open to that now with gratitude that such a thing is available, possible, and that we are privy to that knowledge. So with this gratitude, I send this prayer directly into the law, which only says yes, and into the heart of God, where it always has been the truth of us, and where it is so now. And so it is. Take a breath, and I invite you to stand and join me now for the morning affirmation. You're so quiet this morning. Are you all right? Sorry? Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I wasn't fishing. I was just asking. Okay, well, let's say the affirmation now. Water is essential to life. Its beauty and abundance blesses every creature. I am aware of and grateful for all the ways water supports life on earth. And so it is. Yes, you may be seated. So, this becomes our sacred offering time, where we enter into the process of circulation, just like water. And I want to invite the ushers to come forward now. If you have something to give this morning, something to circulate, there are lots of ways to do that. One is by texting to donate if you wish to do that. Another, of course, is by check or on PayPal. Just look for Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. But whatever you're giving, and by the way, if you're here for the very first time this morning, your presence is your gift. We welcome and bless all of the gifts that are being given, and all of the gifts that we have given in this past week, whether it was our attention or paying our bills or creating something. So let us now bless the offering together as we say this. And if you're giving your gift, hold it near your heart right now as we say this. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Don't mind Nathan. He's going to turn green at some point here, but he still sounds great.
challenge to know where to start. In a world of too many points of view, which one is true?
Told ya.
I sought the silence and the wisdom that once filled my heart, offered peace again like a trusted friend can often do. Said two roads are calling out to me, one of danger, one of certainty. So I decided, if it's fear or love, I choose love. Only two roads, it comes down to this, one of suffering, one of gentle bliss. I decided, if it's fear or love, I choose love. As sure as sunrise, we are all meant to be on this earth, each an artisan of the master plan, humanity. Let's stand together and reclaim what's been ours since our birth, our right to be you and me completely. There are two roads calling out to me, one of danger, one of certainty. I decided, if it's fear or love, I choose love. Only two roads, it comes down to this, one of suffering, one of gentle bliss. I decided, if it's fear or love, I choose love. And the more I decide to make love my guide, the sweeter the ride that life provides. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, there are two roads calling out to me, one of danger, one of certainty. I decided, if it's fear or love, I choose love. Only two roads, it comes down to this, one of suffering, one of gentle bliss. I decided, if it's fear or love, I choose love. I decided, if it's fear or love, I choose love. 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 I choose love.
He's not really extraterrestrial. He just looks that way. So we do, all of us together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, accept this offering with lots of love, and we send it out into the world to bring forward more appreciation for this beautiful, amazing planet that we live on. That everywhere it goes, it touches a heart and lifts them into that awareness. And so it is. All right, so for those of you who are here for the first time this morning, at this back table, you'll find welcome packets, and inside them are blue welcome cards that look like this. If you fill one of these out and turn it in at that back table, we will give you a little book as our gift and thank you for coming today, which you can use for reminders and boosts in your life. It's called Nourishing Thoughts, a little book of affirmations that are applicable in all kinds of situations and helpful. We are delighted that you're here, and we hope to see you often in the future. I want to thank everybody that was here early this morning to do all the setup. We had a lot of bustling today. Our dear Jim Homa is feeling fine, but he's still testing positive for COVID, so he's going to stay home a little longer. But his spirit oversaw everything this morning, made sure that it was all in place and everything was done right. And so I want to thank everybody who participated in that this morning. Let's acknowledge the group. Today, prayer practitioner Marilyn Letzos is doing Quick Start, a free workshop on Zoom this afternoon from 12:30 to 2:30. If it's too late to register for it, but if you're already registered, remember to take the handouts you got and the link and go there at 12:30, and she will be delighted to see you. It's love offerings are welcome, but not required. So everybody's welcome to go who would like a quick refresher or an introduction to our philosophy. Next Sunday, we're going to be celebrating our harvest fair. How many of you have anything growing? Flowers, vegetables, fruits, anything like that? Okay, so for those of you who do, you are required to be here next week with a basket full of stuff. And at the back here, we're going to set up some tables. They'll be labeled so you know where the fruit, veggies go, where the flower arrangements go, where the cooked things go. And then, if you are entering into the judging competition, there'll be a special place for those things in each category they're being judged. And what we encourage you to do is put down on a 3x5 card some information about, what it was. But don't put your name on the card on the front. Just put the information about your item. Put your name on the back, but not on the front, so that if they're judging it, they don't know who it's from until later. And right after the service, we will do the judging and give out the prizes. And then things that are tasty, those of you that would like to taste some things after the judges have had at it, will be given forks and spoons or whatever so that you can taste as well, right? Or am I making that up? I think I made it up, but it works, so we'll do that. We'll go with that. Also, on Saturday, just before that, there's another coastal cleanup happening, and people have had a really good time doing this with Susie Coity, who's here this morning. And if you're interested, talk to Susie. She's right here, the lovely lady. And it is from 10 to noon. Is that right? Yes. And so you meet in the Target parking lot, and you'll go from there. It's a lovely area because you can see the water and all that. And your gloves, your garbage bags, and a snack are provided. But we do ask that you bring your own water in a water bottle or something. Try not to bring something plastic since it kind of is counteractive to what we're doing. And just help. And just a couple hours, you get a little exercise. Bring friends and have some time together, get to know some other people from Golden Gate. And be sure to talk to Susie if you're interested in having more information about it. The Women's Circle drumming is going to begin again. There'll be another gathering of it on Wednesday, August 31st. Beginning at 6 o'clock, there will be a potluck, and then at 7 o'clock, there will be chanting and drumming. So bring your drums. If you have extra drums, you can bring those. There's a sliding scale from $10 to $20, but no one's turned away for lack of funds. And this is taking place at the Alpine, whatever it says up there. The Alpine Club, yes. So go there and join with Lori Greer. If you want more information about it, you can email Lori Greer. Her email is up there on the slide. Oh yeah, the lodge at the Alpine Club, that's where you want to be. All right. Also, Suzanne is here, and Suzanne Dubois is going to be doing the Writing as a Spiritual Practice class. And Suzanne, you want to come up and say something about that? This class gives you all sorts of tools to tap into your intuitive, creative side. And it's going to all be on Zoom this time, so no confusion about who is online and who is live and all that. It's all online. And come step up here with me and tell them what you're going to do.
I didn't know I was being called up.
Oh, you're on now.
Hi. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really unique experience doing it on Zoom. It hasn't been done before. I'm still trying to figure it out. So we're going to be guided by Spirit as we write, and it is just, I don't even know how to describe how much fun it is, and we get to know people on a more intimate level. So come join us and have fun.
It's going to be a delightful class. It is on Monday evenings, 6 Monday evenings in a row. And coming up, the registration is open now, and you can register from our website. If you go to the Classes and Events tab, just click on that, and the drop-down menu will give you a chance to see where you go to register. Now, I want to remind you, if you're a meditator, or if you're not a meditator, if you're very experienced or you're very much a beginner, every Wednesday night, we have a Zoom meditation, and everybody is welcome to come. It starts at 7:15. Generally, we check in a little bit, so it starts a little bit later than that, and it runs about an hour. Some weeks are a little more, some are a little less, because every week within a month is a different style of meditation. So it's a great thing to do, and it's simple to do. And in order to get to it, you don't have to register for it or anything. You just go to our website calendar, which is also under Classes Events, that tab on our website. At the very bottom of that drop-down menu, you'll see the calendar. Go to the calendar, look at the Wednesday you're looking at, click on the event for meditation, and it will open up the events page, and right there will be a link for the Zoom meeting that will take you right to it. So come and join us, give it a try. I know people tend to forget by Wednesday, so somebody said I ought to mention it to you on Sunday, so you've actually heard it out loud and not just seen it, in your email. And the climate action tip for this week, I found this was really interesting. These are 4 things that we can do that make a big difference, and anybody can do them. When you wash your hands, use cold water. Be sure and use soap and wash for 20 seconds, but use cold water. Clear out your inbox. Our inboxes cause a certain amount of carbon to be generated for every single message in our inbox. I have messages that go back years that I saved. I need to clean all that out so that I'm much more current and I'm not contributing more carbon to the atmosphere to try and hang on to all those things. You can also install remote control sockets that will work with Alexa or one of those other ones, and they're more fun to use. So you can use them remotely, turn them off and on, so that you're not, because anything that's plugged in is still using electricity, even if you're not actively using it in the moment, especially your computer and so on. So if you get those, you can turn that plug off, that socket. And the last is to use an environmentally friendly search engine. And the one that's shown up there, I've started using, and it seems pretty easy so far. So you could check that one out online on their website. And of course, prayer requests. Do you know you can make a prayer request from the website? Okay, so on our website, once again, ggcsl.org, the tab at the top says Resources. If you click on that, on the drop-down menu, you'll see one of the options is to make a prayer request. You can fill it out right there online, and you will get an acknowledgement that your request has been received, so it will go into the prayer circle. On Sunday, you can actually get a prayer with one of our practitioners, so please avail yourselves of that. They are very well trained to pray for you, and they're here to do that this morning. And also the prayer box on the table is available for you to put a request in if you're in a hurry or even if you're not. So let's now, I'm going to invite the practitioners to surround the room, and we're going to do a treatment for all of us together. This is called a chamber of prayer, when all of us are in prayer within our own consciousness for all of us together at the same time, which means that you'll hear a lot of people talking quietly. Just allow the wave of prayer to wash over you from every direction like waves that are coming, waves of love, as we do this right now. In this deep, full, free, rich presence of Spirit, I know the truth for everyone here and the truth for people throughout the world, in Ukraine, in Russia, in the Middle East, in the United States, that all over the world where there's conflict, there is a heart of peace beating strongly. There is a resilience, a strength, a courage, a faith, a resilience and reliance on one another that the world, the universe, supports. And so for each one of us here in this room, as we face our challenges too, the entire universe is in support of us finding our path, stepping into happiness, not waiting to experience all the joy that's available for us. This is true for every one of us because it's what we're made from. And I claim it for everybody in this room, right here, right now. A liftoff of illness, of poverty, of the belief in illness and poverty, of isolation and loneliness, released. I give thanks. I let this be. And so it is. Take a breath. Now please stand and join us for the benediction and the peace song. And the peace song, we will be listening to the musical accompaniment, but you'll see the words on the screen. I think the majority of you know the peace song, so sing it out as you see it here. But first join me as we say this together. I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For Spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is. Here we go. Crank it up there, Dana. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. God as creator, united harmony. Let us walk with Yeah, wish everybody a wonderful week around you. Tell them good stuff about themselves.